Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/PettyRevenge. In today's episode, want to block my driveway, officer? It's gonna be another minute or two on coffee. My evil brother died with no one to inherit his money but me. I win. My BF tried to cheat on me, so I sent his sister a message and his mom a letter. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Want to block my driveway, officer? It's gonna be another minute or two on coffee. About a decade ago, I worked an early morning shift at a fast food restaurant. We opened at 6 a.m., so I had to be at work at 5 a.m. I would leave my house at about 4:45 a.m. every morning. My management was pretty relaxed about the opening shift. Clocking in up to 10 minutes late wasn't really an ordeal, as long as you showed up ready to go. I came outside at 4:45 to find that a local police officer has pulled someone over and is now blocking my driveway. This has happened before, but normally in the afternoon, and normally I just ask the officer to move forwards or back a couple of feet and then I pull in or out of the driveway. No sweat. This officer, however, angrily informs me that I will have to wait till he's done. I snap a picture of his car, text it to my manager and explain my tardiness. 40 minutes later, the police officer finally moves. I scramble into the car and head to work. I get there 15 minutes before we open. I frantically start to brew tea, fetch ice, having to condense my 50-minute routine into 15. I almost forgot to brew coffee. Opening time rolls around, and the first group of customers come in. It's a group of our local police officers, led by the captain. I guess they're about to do a shift change. One of the officers in the group is the one who blocked my driveway. Anyway, the captain orders coffee, and I regretfully inform him that there's a 5-minute wait on coffee because I got to work extremely late. Captain asks why, so I pulled out my phone and explained that one of his officers blocked my driveway for 45 minutes for a routine traffic stop. Captain proceeds to chew out that officer in front of all of his colleagues and exclaims that nothing short of a life or death emergency should block my driveway if it will interfere with him getting his morning coffee. It was never blocked again. And the captain always got his coffee at 6 a.m. without interruption. My granddad had a story a bit like this. He used to work in a tailor's where they used to make Gardaí, Irish police, dress uniforms. One day 2 young Gardaí come in to put in orders for their dress uniforms. They make the stupid decision to be very rude to my granddad. The reason why this was particularly stupid of them is that all the uniforms have unique number embroidered on the shoulder. So when the superintendent comes, who my granddad has been filling orders in for quite some time, he mentions the incident with the 2 young Gardaí and superintendent asks if they had picked up their order yet, which they hadn't, but they were ready to pick up, so he takes the number down off both the uniforms and he tells my granddad he will handle it. The next day the superintendent shows back up with a couple of very chewed out looking Gardaí who both deliver very sheepish apologies to my granddad for their behavior. Cops holding bad apples accountable. But for coffee, cops have zero chill when it comes to brown stuff. Cops are like a box of chocolates. They will kill your dog. I was about to call bullshit on a camera phone from 10 years ago. Then I realized what year it is. GD, I feel old, huh? Been there, done that, buddy. This was probably more like 7 years ago actually. My evil brother died with no one to inherit his money but me. I win. My first memories of my brother are of him terrorizing me, pinching, slapping, punching, all of it. He was 2 when I was born. We had no other siblings. We fought and I tried to defend myself, but I was a girl and 2 years younger, so I never really had a chance when he decided to bully me. I suppose it's not kind of me to assert that he was evil. However, here is some of what he put my family through. When he was 12, he told the guidance counselor at school that he was going to murder us in our sleep. I slept with a baseball bat and my door locked. He was arrested as a kid for lighting fires and for shoplifting. He was arrested as a teen for burglary and drugs. He stole from others, my parents, and me. He ruined my things whenever he felt like breaking something. He actively sought out drugs to use them. He was the peer who did the pressuring. He routinely humiliated me in high school, tripping me or knocking my books out of my hands to show off to his friends. My dad had to defend himself from my brother's fists when my brother was mad. My brother did nothing to contribute to having a happy life or home, no chores, and no responsibilities, failed every class, sneaked out all the time, and ran away several times from the age of 14. He beat 2 different ex-wives. Our family was complicated. Despite everything he did, our mother constantly took his side and got him out of trouble. Over the past couple of years, I've posted about it. If you feel you need more info, you can see my post titled, "When Your Narc Dies, Will You Mourn?" He died at age 60 of complications from diabetes. He refused to take responsibility for caring for it, and never listened to doctors. Everything that uncontrolled diabetes can do, it did to him. He had no children, no parents, and no wife. About a month ago, I found out he died alone in a nursing home. They had his ex-wife's number, and she had him cremated. There is no one to come to a memorial service. Today his ex-wife called me to say that his debts are settled and there is a positive balance in his account. As his last living relative, it's mine. The very last person he would want to end up with even a dime of his money is getting all of it. Insert villainous laugh. ETA, a few answers to common questions. I don't know how much. Maybe he set me up to go through a bunch of paperwork and end up with nothing. Not sure how he would have done that while blind for the past few years. He had no will. His ex-wife is an old friend of mine from childhood. They met again as adults, and she was charmed. 15 years ago, she and I had fallen out of touch. The garbage that happened in my family was never talked about. She found out the hard way. Sadly. They lived across the country from me. They may have stolen part of my inheritance when my dad died. Brother's ex-wife was executor because my dad knew and trusted her. I did all my dad's business in the last few years of his life, like writing his checks for utilities, etc. I know how much was there when he died. I know what dads will said. I know what I ended up with. It doesn't add up at all. That being said, his ex didn't have to call me at all about money from my brother, so I am considering what an appropriate thank you for telling me might be. At least he left you something useful and you can be free now. Treat yourself, and treat your inner child with it. Buy back something he stole or broke. This is such a brilliant idea. Also, even a small donation to a shelter for women fleeing domestic violence would be both nice and something he would hate his money spent on. Long, complicated story short, I inherited some money from a relative that everyone hated. We bought an RV with some and squirreled the rest into an emergency fund at a time when our emergency fund was very slim. Best FU is being happy with their money. And I wish you happiness with their money. If the ex was reasonable and helpful in settling his affairs, make sure she gets a small enough gift the IRS doesn't need to get involved, but big enough to thank her, if the estate is large enough. That's not a petty revenge, that's a revenge of a lifetime. Congrats! My BF tried to cheat on me, so I sent his sister a message and his mom a letter. I was with him for half a year, and it was clear he was gonna have to go abroad for work for 10 months, and he was the first one to say he wants to get through it together as a couple. He told me how much he loved me and everything that was amazing about me all the time. He took me to his sister's wedding and generally involved me a lot with his family and always showered me with love and affection. I thought he was super committed until a couple days after we kissed goodbye at the airport and started long distance. I was preparing a very elaborate, thoughtful gift for which I needed to read our first messages again, so I downloaded Hinge again and saw that he updated his profile and was looking for women in his area on there now. I confronted him and he confessed and gave me all kinds of shitty excuses, so of course I dumped his ass. I didn't want him to do this to me with no consequences though. I messaged his sister on social media to ask if he had been cheating on me back home already respectfully, while in reality I just used the message as a way to let her know he was trying to cheat on me over in Dublin. Then today I sent a letter to his mom telling her it was a pleasure to meet her and the family as they are all very warm, friendly people, which is true, especially she was a sweetheart and she absolutely adored me and seemed to be as convinced as I was that her son was serious about me, and that I think it's unfortunate that things didn't work out between me and her son due to his infidelity, but that I wanted to thank her for the warm welcome into the family and wanted to properly say goodbye with this letter. I know he's probably gonna try to twist the whole thing around, but I have a tiny bit of hope that she'll believe me and that he's at least gonna get into a bit of trouble with his family there since they all really like me, and him ruining this so fast is too low of a blow to ignore. I may also drive to his grandma's to drop off some of his stuff he left me since he stores all his stuff at her house while he's gone, and I may or may not slip that info in the conversation when I give her the stuff. Honestly, I applaud you. If he's as close to his family as you claim, he deserves nothing less. It's perfectly petty, and your message to his mom was polite and even without the cheating suite to send to thank her for welcoming you in their lives. Don't listen to people on here. It's called petty revenge for a reason. And I definitely mean it. I think it would be different if I sent her a letter just to shit on her piece of shit son, but I genuinely think she's a sweetheart and would have wanted to give her a little goodbye anyway since she was so kind to me, and maybe that's also why I want her to know I didn't mess this up. His cheating was merely a side note. FR like Red, what sub you're on? Makes me want to see the letter, minus the names. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.